Hello, today is August 21st, 2020. My name is Cindy Strebig. I am an active member of the Lakewood chapter of the League of Women Voters of Greater Cleveland. Today I will be explaining how to register people to vote. Please understand that this information is time and location sensitive. That means it could and will change. So stay up to date with your local and state decision makers. Here in Cleveland, that's the Cuyahoga County Board of Elections and the Ohio Secretary of State. Okay, let's do this. Why do you need to train people to register voters? Most important, we want to be sure each voter we approach and help is successfully registered. Mistakes are common and can result in failed registrations. So we train those who register voters for the League in practices designed to reduce or correct mistakes. Also, we want to increase the likelihood that a new registrant will vote. To that end, it's important to reduce intimidation and increase confidence in new voters. Registration success is the first step in that direction, as a failed registration could be discouraging. While registering voters, we should also be able to answer as many questions as possible, or at least help the voter find the answers. In Ohio, we vote in a primary election on the first Tuesday after the first Monday in May, and we vote in a general election on the first Tuesday after the first Monday in November. There could also be a special election in August. Citizens who are not currently serving time for a felony conviction can vote. Know the difference between people serving time in prison and people that are in jail. People in jail can vote. A question I often get about college students is, where do I register to vote? The answer is, where is your home? What do you call home? And a lot of times students will say, well, I have two homes. I have a home and I have a college home. In that case, go with the home. If the voter can sign their own name, you do not need to witness as, or to sign as a witness. If the voter is unable to sign his or her name, have them write an X in the signature box and write your own name underneath and within the signature box, affirming that you witnessed the signature and the citizen's desire to register. Not on this slide, but right above question number 1 are 3 checkoff boxes. It says, I am registering as an Ohio voter, updating my address, or updating my name. Ask them to check this off, and then always start with question number 1. This is always a big error area here because we are trained to always start with our last name. So people always go to number 3 and they skip 1 and 2. So make sure when you're reviewing this form that you go back and make sure that they hit these first 2 questions because they're very important. Also on this form, ask for the phone number. You'll see number 11 there is not highlighted in yellow. When you're explaining the form and you're starting with number 1 and number 2 and telling them to make sure that they enter everything that's highlighted, Ask them for their phone number. Also, a note here is you cannot go back and highlight that yourself. I've had people say to me, well, I'll just go in and highlight it. This is a form from the state of Ohio. We cannot alter this form. So please do not change anything on this form. Just follow the form, answer the questions, and put the phone number in. This is where you would put in their previous address or their change of name. You put their former information on these two lines. Make sure when you explain that they need to add their signature that they sign within this dotted box. There's been some concerns about signature fraud. And for somebody with a name like mine that has letters that drop down below, there's a tendency to drop down below that dotted line. Make sure to tell them to sign their entire signature within that box. And of course, put today's correct date. When you're asking for phone numbers, make sure that you tell them that neither the League of Women Voters nor the Board of Election will pass phone numbers to any other persons or entities. We're using their phone number to make sure that they have entered all their information correctly, and if they have not, to call them back and make sure that we have their information correct. We also would use their phone number to follow up with them later if something is not right. For volunteers registering for the League of Women Voters, the League of Women Voters will take responsibility for delivering the forms. Voters can check their registration status and start the process of registering online at myohiovote.com or boe.cuyahogacounty.us. An Ohio state ID and the last four numbers of one's Social Security is required to process online registration. If you're using the online voter registration in the field, you can use your smartphone, tablet, or laptop, but you'll need a Wi-Fi connection. The League of Women Voters prefers paper to support documentation and assure accuracy. If you decide to use your phone, make sure you bring along your phone charger. The League of Women Voters of Ohio will also check that people are on the rolls. If someone has not been properly registered, we will follow up with that voter. However, we can only do this if we receive paper applications. Encouraging voters to provide their phone number would also facilitate this task. Anyone can verify their registration online, either the SOS website or the county Board of Election website. On the Cuyahoga County Board of Election website, click on My Voting Information. All you have to do is add your last name and your birthday. Again, go online to check. You'd be surprised how many people we run into that have been purged. I mean, you'd really be surprised. So if you haven't checked your own voter registration, please do so now. In this time of coronavirus, it's difficult to get to a lot of locations and events. The ones that we can go to, we've been carrying signs. It's a way to communicate with people without getting too close and frightening them or putting yourself in danger. Voter Notify is no longer a service that's provided by the Cuyahoga County Board of Elections. But you can track your ballot online. You should know your area, know your crowd when you're going out to register to vote. Here in Lakewood, we have a lot of people that move in and out of town, and this is always a good one for a sign for us. Have you moved since you last registered to vote or since you last voted? And if they have moved, they need to change their address. Same thing with their name. They get married and they change their name. It has to match their ID. It has to match their voter registration. this is an interesting point. You can't offer people anything to vote. We've done voter registration drives at Lakewood High School, and of course the kids want to offer pizza. You can't even do that. You can't offer them anything. If you're going to offer something, you have to offer it to everyone. For example, we have League of Women Voter pens that we put on our table. That's not just for people registering to vote. That's for anybody that wants or needs a pen. You can't give anybody that's registering to vote any kind of a reward, including a stamp. You cannot give them anything. And lastly, know your crowd. Be culturally sensitive to who the people are. Anticipate questions, concerns, and arguments. Some people don't think that voting is a good idea, but don't ever jeopardize the integrity of the league. Don't argue with them. Don't talk about politics or parties. We're not here to judge. We're here to help.